welcome to the EEPROM 9. Now we come to the teardown. The Allen key is ready. So Wheeze is going to see inside the Mark 1 Hunter. I'm expecting it to be very similar to the Mark 2 Hunter. For those of you who may have forgotten what it looks like, here. And while in front of me a video compiles quite happily. We'll minimise that. Save on CPU-y crap. So first off, the screws are nice and tight. As can be expected. I somewhat think this one might have proper seals rather than relying on the old method. I'll probably speed this up to a point where my voice is squeaky and funny, although it's normally quite squeaky anyway. For my secret identity is Beaker off the Muppets. Come on, there we go. Now for those of you new and haven't seen the other Hunter videos, this should be interesting for you lot, especially if you haven't actually seen this machine before. When we can get it to respond. There we go. Oh, bugger. Does this have more screws on the back? No, it doesn't. Ah. Don't you just love taking things apart to see what they look like inside? The instructions say you shouldn't. But the instructions say that, but oh god, I'm blocking the bloody camera, aren't I? I am stupid. There we go. Oh, these ones seem to be kind of easier. The shame we don't have an automatic Allen key. This would be a lot faster. It'd be like the magic of editing should clear that up. As long as we have enough memory, I'm happy. I don't want to make this a massive zillion-parter 10-hour compile job. I shall also pause the camera about halfway through to take photos. This time I actually will. Because I really want to know the dates of this thing, so don't forget to look at the date codes on the chips like I did last time. Okay, I almost got all the screws off. Oh, someone might have been in this before, but that Allen key screw is a bit frayed. Does that mean someone's removed the rubber seal? No! Then it's not necessarily waterproof, and that'd be bad. Because what if you take it on holiday and there's a flood or something? Then it won't survive. Righty then, so once we've finished screwing with these screws, oh god, yeah, someone's definitely been in here before. I'm not the first to penetrate this machine, shall we say. Sorry about the crude humour, but most people enjoy it, I think. And so spinny, spinny, spinny round, spinny round, spinny round, spinny, spinny, spinny round, spinny round. Da, 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 da. This must be very enthralling for you lot watching. This thing being spun round and round and round and round. There it goes, and off it comes. Oh, forgot about that. It is pretty much the same layout. We haven't got the HV board because we don't have a backlight in this one. Unplug that. Yeah, someone's been kind enough to remove and lose the O-ring. Thank you. So that goes like that. Yeah, we'll just put that over there. So yeah, this one isn't waterproof, not like the other one. So no dropping this one in the bath. Remove that. So next thing we want to do is just pop that off. So yeah, so far it's pretty much exactly the same. No differences so far. None whatsoever. This thing is a bit on the awkward side. Remember that. Oh, come on! I know none of these screws actually hold it down. Does that hold the RAM in? It holds the display in, or something like that. Come on, stop it. Here we go, it's slowly coming. If I can just get my fingers under there. Oh, that means I have to grab something else. Grab a screwdriver. There we go, fine. Now remember, you want to be very gentle when doing this. Very gentle. There we go. Oh, the display is attached. Now that is different. Now the silicone sealant stuff is not there. There's no silica gel pad. This looks good. So that's inside the faceplate. And this is inside the actual unit itself. Complete, if we can see the ROM chips, which we can't. Husky Hunter. Look at that. Nice close up for you all to see. 86. Oh, this model's from 86. 8447. And the battery for my personal thing looks like it's a 2.4 volt, 100 milliamp an hour, the internal battery. And that doesn't seem to have leaked everywhere, which is kind of good. This contains, that's the main thing. Lovely old. Ah, here's our silica gel. It's crammed between the display and the other thing. And a plastic thing is in there too. So I shall stop the camera, take some pictures, and we shall continue. So yeah, it's the exact same layout, it's just different due to the differences. And there are 2 ROM chips installed. I can see them at the back. And I'd imagine there'd be what called the custom OS rather than it being anywhere. Anyway, I'm going to stop this and then we can take some photos. Should I remove the display? Yeah, I'll remove boards so we can take proper photos. And I'll put them up.
Okay, so now on to the pictures, which I have not been lazy and decided to do. And just for a general point of interest, as a bit of a novelty, this has been recorded the day after this part of the actual teardown footage itself. But first off, we're presented with the internal guts of the Husky as when they are when you remove them, and as you can see from the video, they're not amazingly easy to get out. It takes some gentle prizing. Now, at the bottom, you've got the LCD display, nice, big, obvious. The Husky Hunter Mark II, the display is actually mounted to the front case and would need separately unscrewing from that and connects to the motherboard via a similar connection method, same connection method as for the serial interface port, which looks like a parallel port if you ask me. To that's very left, you've got the connectors and a few bits of logic to do with that. You'll also notice that there's SMT. SMT did seem to actually exist in the early 80s, but it seems to be exclusively to really expensive equipment. or specialised stuff like this. Above the LCD display, you've got the RAM card, which is populated on both sides by SMT RAM chips, and then you've got the Toshiba's. Hang on, because I'm viewing this slightly differently to you lot. I'd suggest watching this in the HD mode if you've got connection to handle it. Which consists of 74HC138s, 74HC20, the 74HC00, if I remember correctly, is a quad AND gate. And there's a few that I don't recognise off the top of my head. In fact, most of them actually. There's a 74HC174, that's not what I thought it is. 74HC04, that'll be in NOT gates and various logic like that, which will be used for essentially buffers on the, which will be used essentially for RAM control, essentially to connect it to the rest of the system. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to research the data sheet on that. I'm not doing that. At the top right, the big yellow thing with blue is the backup battery, which is an NCAD 2.4 volt, 100 milliamps an hour little rechargeable battery. I want to try and source replacements for these because they're not exactly in both machines, they're not exactly in a great state. And then above that, the big black long thing is the battery tube. Now on to the next photo, which is with the RAM board unscrewed and removed from position. Now straight away you notice there's quite a similarity. If any of you have looked at the oldcomputers.com original Husky, there's a very similarity to the internals of that, and it uses the same processor, which is the bottom big chip, which is the NSC 800N-44i. That looks like an I. And that was made in 1985 on the 48th week. And of course, not much point pointing at the screen, but I am. This is a low power Z80 CPU essentially. It's the same architecture as a Z80, but only it's designed for low power. Above that is like a kind of I/O type chip for it. You know, like you get with the Z80, you get the kind of peripheral chip. That would be what that one was for. Next to them, directly to their right, is the ROMs with some stuff written on there, 94 and 60H, and a red sticker with information that's not particularly easy to decipher. I haven't figured it out. And then you've got miscellaneous 7.4 logic, of which I do not recognise many of the chips to what they do instantly. I'd have to research data sheets. And in amongst them, the little silver thing below the processor is, and between the LCD, a little crystal oscillator. I don't know its megahertz rating, but it's probably going to be something similar to what the Z80 can handle, which is, if I remember correctly, 4 MHz, around that. Notice the other ROM sockets aren't actually populated, even with connectors, but there are opportunities to expand them if required. These machines are very customizable. The next shot that you can see is between the display and motherboard. The display was a bit tight to screw out, so there wasn't much luck there. You can see something that looks like a crystal oscillator next to the yellow thing. The yellow thing itself, I think it's a variable capacitor, and then there's chips and other stuff, and the middle empty area is where the HV inverter would go for the fluorescent backlight, which isn't a fluorescent tube. Hang on, I need to have a drink. Bear with me. There we go. And of course there seems to be more RAM chips to the right of that, which are out of camera shot, or one's in. And then miscellaneous logic, which would be for the I/O connector of the serial connector. And a big power capacitor between the display and the board, and you can see it above the chip on the left by my thumb. The next photo is the inside of the front case. You'll notice that everything is sealed off with silicone sealant with the stuff that isn't supposed to be dismantleable, along with some shock absorbers around the display to protect it from hard impact, although there seems to be a lack of shock absorbers for the actual circuit board. And the connector itself just plugs into the circuit board, and you've got the keyboard connector, which is a nice membrane keyboard, which is kind of what you'd expect, which then has the buttons which push on it. There's no indicator that says that it's empty, that it's full of water, but sadly someone removed the O-ring that goes between the case and the top half that seals it off completely, so this particular model isn't waterproof anymore. You could consider it water resistant in that it will survive a coffee spill, but don't drop it in any large bodies of water, it'll fill up. The next shot is of the back of the motherboard with it still in. These were actually taken in the order you're seeing them. Now you can see all the connectors, the big area where there's nothing there really apart from a few traces. I don't know exactly how many layers this board has. I haven't even bothered looking into it, and now the thing's fully assembled again, I'm not going to. But if you look up at the top left, you'll notice there's a lot of through-hole components, and that'll probably be most likely I/O interface. Below that you've got the processors and keyboard connector, and then to the right of that you've got the ROM sockets, or 2 ROM sockets, and holes which you could plug in extra ROMs. And also, notice the little white sticker that says Husky modification record. Most of you should be watching it. This part I'd highly recommend watching in the HD, just to make it easier to see where everything is. Some sort of modification record. Seems to comply with the custom OS actually. And the last shot is of the machine assembled itself. This is probably the shot I put up on the website when I actually bother to update it. So yes, that's it running with its custom OS. Very nice little machine. And this is where I have to hand you back to the video. So I hope you found this bit interesting. It's surprisingly longer than I expected it to be, but it's knowledge, and knowledge is power. So I shall put you over to me in the past now.
And so that concludes the teardown. Although, if I'm not lazy, you should have just gone for a part where I've voiced over the photos of inside and highlighted things with stuff. But yeah, very much exactly the same. There's got a shot of the processor, which is a nice big dip package. In fact, it looks like it's the same processor that's in the original Hunter. And well, I'll put that up on my website when I get round to it. That is the Hunter Mark 1 full teardown, and looky inside these. And let's go to 3 terminal, so that'll be 1 1. I love that noise when it starts the terminal. That is brilliant. We have to play that again. That is just so cool. Righty then. Escape menu. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this rather interestingly informative video. Now to do the voiceover. that will be, and then edit it all together.